are you doing, guys? I hope that everyone is doing okay. And today I'm going to talk about our last 2 weeks to recap uh, what we have covered in the last 2 weeks. I am Ahmed Isa, and I have been with you in the last 2 weeks, and I will be doing some introduction about the topics that we have studied so far. So, as you know, that I will be teaching you Introduction to Business and Operations Management, and here is my email that you can find ahmed.isa at scholarschool.ac.uk. And if you need any help regarding your assignments, regarding if anyone needs any help regarding the topic that we are covering in this lecture, just contact me. And for any academic support about your classes, you can reach out to class at scholarschool.ac.uk. So those people, the academic support team will be supporting you with any inquiries about your classes when you are going to attend, and everything around that topics. Okay, so in this session we are going to talk about what is business and why business exists, and what are the basic objectives of the business, and how do businesses establish their priorities and objectives, and what are the types of businesses in this economy. So there are some questions I have asking you, like what is business, why we do business, and what are the objectives of businesses. And you were very interactive with me, and I really liked your interactivity, guys. So business is any organization where people work together either to sell products or services. A business can generate profit from the product and services it offers. So the businesses is the main existence of a business is where people come together to produce products or to offer services, and they sell these services and to the target market in order to generate sales and revenue, and at the end of the day to generate profit for the owner of the business. So, but why business exists? So business exists to solve a problem or to fulfill a market need. Basically, in any market or in our economy right now, we have so many problems that's emerging in our economies and in our societies, and that's where like entrepreneurs and business owners come together and try to solve these problems by introducing new products and services to the market so they can fill a gap in the market. So that's why entrepreneurs come together and try to solve these problems with their innovative ideas and creative ideas, business ideas. However, it can be very hard for entrepreneurs in the first early stages of their business. So they strive and work very hard to get beyond the survival stage. And most businesses exist to make revenue for business owners, and profit is the key motive for any business activity. So mostly these businesses, even though they are trying to solve a market gap or to introduce new products and services, but the main aim for them is to make profit. So here are some examples of business objectives and KPIs for companies that are striving to achieve. For example, some companies are trying to maximize their profit and to make as much as profit they can make, and other companies their main goal is to have more market share. For example, Pepsi and Coca-Cola are trying all the time to promote their services, to promote their products on the market, to enable to win more market share. The other thing, some companies are their main key motive is to sales maximization. So as much as sales that they can generate, they strive to do that. The other thing is rapid growth. Some companies are trying to grow rapidly and to grow to new markets rapidly and to penetrate new markets. So every company, we call it, they have like a North Star metric. And for example, Facebook, their main aim goal, or main KPI is the daily active user. So as much as they have a daily active user, that's how they generate, that's how they measure their success. So KPIs are very important elements in any business. So we can compare and see whether we are achieving our goals or our business goals or not. Okay, so how business establish their priorities and objectives? There are some quite few methods for companies to establish their objectives, their business objectives, by fine-tuning each goals to the main business objectives of the company and its aim, mission and vision of the company. So there are some guidelines that every company, when they want to generate, to establish and write their business objectives, their business objectives should be clear and simple goals. So as much as the goal is simple and clear and specific, the company can reach this goal. And in a minute, I'm going to describe and give example how does it look like the SMART goals the SMART objectives. So the first thing, it should be clear and simple. The second thing, it should be specific, very specific, in terms of what is the market that is going to serve, or what are the product and services that they are going to generate. The third thing is measurable. We should have a number for each business goal that we have, because at the end of the day, we want to measure our success, whether we achieved our success or not. And it should be also attainable and achievable and realistic. Because we cannot like put a business goals that is very ambitious or very ambitious that you cannot achieve. So in order not to let yourself down or not to be disappointed, you have to put at the beginning a realistic, based on your experience in the market, based on your research of the market. You should have a realistic and attainable goals. The fourth and fifth thing is to have time bound. So this time, it should, for example, we cannot say, oh, we want to achieve a great number of sales, and you just say that. You will not be able to achieve that. So you have to put deadline or a timeline for when you are going to achieve that, so you can work toward achieving this goal, for example, every month, every week, quarterly or bi-quarterly, or yearly or annually. So you have to have a time bound, and in a minute I'm going to show you some examples. So each business should have a SMART goal, as I said, and SMART means not smart in terms of smart as like clever. No, it's an acronym for specific. Each letter is a word. It's the first one is this specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So for example, I have generated this from you guys because every one of you have a business idea, and every one of you have different experiences, and you would like to generate to open your businesses. So some of you want to open a pizza shop, for example. So how does it look like when we want to establish a smart goal? It should be like this: starting a pizza shop that sells 1,000 pizza per month. So this uh, business objective is very strong example of the application of a smart goal. So it's very specific where we want to open a pizza shop, and it's very measurable. You can measure your success by uh, counting how many pizza did you sell per month, and here our goal is to sell 1,000 pizza per month, and it's attainable as and realistic at the same time, because if you are very experienced in this business, and you have the right skills, customer skills, the right delivery to the customers, you will be able to generate 1,000 pizza, to sell 1,000 pizza, and maybe more. It depends on your expertise and the market that you are selling. But this is like just an example for what is the how does it look like a smart goal, and it depends on your business and where do you operate, how many customers do you can generate. So yeah, and realistic and time bound. So we have put a time for this goal, which is like per month. So each month I can measure my success, whether I achieve this goal or not. So the second one is building a barber shop and handle 15 customers per day. So here is another example: barber shop. It's a very specific that I want to open a barber shop. Maybe like if you want to be more specific for men or women, it doesn't matter. But at the same time, you are here specifying what kind of business that you are trying to do, and you want to handle 15 customers per day. So 15 customers, you can measure if you are able to handle these 15 customers. If you have, like, for example, another two professionals to work with you, and per day, so it's but also time bound, so it's attainable, achievable, measurable. So this number can be changed. It depends on your in your market and in your customers. So it depends on you how to put, and it depends on you and your experience how to establish your business objectives. So here is another third example: starting a grocery shop and earn 17,000 pound in revenue per month. So this is like how you can set business goals. And yeah, as I said, it's just these numbers and this example, it's just like for the sake of elaboration. It depends on you and your market and your experience in the market. Okay, so also we have covered this subject of types of businesses and organizations. As we discussed, not all of businesses are for profit. Some of them are non-for-profit organization, such as like the public sector organizations, which are set for the aims and objectives other than profit making. For example, there are some care home organizations that is for the sake of serving those people, the elder people. And also the governmental organizations are not for profit making. It's like for providing services for the public. For example, police department, hospitals, schools, universities. So, and the other example is the profit-making company. The private sector businesses operated mostly for profit motives. So we have to think also some charity organizations. They are not for profit making. They are established to serve the community in each community. So it depends on the charity organization that is established. So Okay, so for the businesses, the private business sector, there are four types of businesses, and it depends. In this classification, depends on the ownership and the financial liability of each type. So the first type, this is like for the sake of knowledge to you guys, so you can understand when you want to open your business, you want to go into working in a business, you can understand what type of the business that you are doing, or the type of business that you are working in. So the first one is called sole trader. Sole trader is a business owned and controlled by one person. So the whole ownership and the liability, financial liability, is on that person. So if in case of losses or in case of revenue, the business owner who is taking full responsibility of these, and it's very easy from legal perspective. It's very easy to open a sole trader, to be a sole trader, and yeah, you just like establish a business and you get the right licenses and you open it. The second example is partnership. Partnership, where is two people or three or more people come together and they share investments and responsibilities. So it's like, so for example, if there is two people want to join forces and want to establish a business, each one of them, they have to contribute some money to the business, and at the same time to contribute with the responsibilities and taking responsibilities of the business. So the ownership is shared between the partners, and usually it depends on how each partner contributing to the business, whether by the employment, the hard working, or the investment that they are doing and putting in the business, and all by how who's taking care of the business operations. So it depends like on. So also the financial liabilities are shared with all the partners, but it's unlimited liability. So the owners of the business shared unlimited liabilities for the losses or for the revenue. However, like this kind of business can have some problems because maybe some partners may be competent or hardworking than the others, and the other thing is like the unlimited liability of a profits and profit shared. What we do mean by unlimited liability, that anything happen to the business will chase the partner, and the partners are fully responsible for this liability. Also, the same case for sole trader. Some of the problems are that there is like lack of management and skills, lack of capital for expansion, and also unlimited liability. So anything happen to the business will get back and chase the owner of the business. So these two, the first two examples and types of businesses called unlimited liability. So anything happen to the business is fully responsible. It's the full responsibility of the partners and the owners of the business. However, we have another two types. One is called private limited company and public limited company. So private limited company, where it is owned by three or two people. Usually it's a family business. However, they cannot sell or sell shares to general public. So the investor in this company is just the owner of the shares, or the business owners, or the people who already established the business. So people from the public, they cannot buy shares from them. However, the public limited company is usually owned by shareholders. So these companies are listed in the stock market, such as Facebook, Twitter, all of these big companies that you can buy and sell their stocks. It's called public limited company. And however, the private limited company, you cannot sell or you cannot buy shares from them because they are not listed in the stock market. The ownership for the private limited company is on like it's among the shareholders or the owners of the business. However, they cannot sell or sell their list their company in the stock market, and thus no one can buy from their stock or share ownership. However, the public limited companies, the shareholders, general public or investment pension funds. So it is owned not by the founder, but it is public for people, for investors to buy and sell shares, to buy shares from them. However, here the main key difference is the liability. So in the private limited company, the liability is limited. So it's limited to the amount of investments by the shareholders. So it depends like on how much money I have in the business. I will have a profit or I will lose from the company. So it depends on the amount of investment that I have. It's also the same case for the public limited company, where the shareholder is liable for the loss or the profit depending on how much money he has in the business. However, some common problems for the private limited company, some people can, the owners can lose control, because maybe some of it can happen that some owners, some shareholders want to sell his share, so it can still sell for friends, business contract, cannot sell, so it can, there can be loss of control for the business, because when they sell their part to other company or to another one. Also, they cannot sell shares to general public, and this is like very big problem, because they cannot expand and they cannot raise fund. However, for the public limited company, further loss of control ownership by original owners. So for example, if I am the original owner of the company, yeah, and I listed my company in the market, and someone want to take over my company, will be like buying shares from the company until they have full control over my company or of the original company. And also the company should have full disclosure of accounts as legally required. So legally, the public company should all the time disclose all full disclosure of their accounts, how much they earned, how much money the revenue, the profit. So for the public, they can decide whether to buy or sell shares from the company. So this is the four types. The difference between the four types is like the first two in terms of ownership and liability. So they have unlimited liability. However, the private and limited company, they have limited liability over the loss and the profit in the company. Now we are going to move to another section that we have discussed last week, which is called the modern business environment, and how the modern business environment are affecting how we are going to discuss and how we are going to do our daily businesses. So because nowadays, like, there are so many things that's affecting the business, such as the management style, the corporate culture, the values of the company, the philosophy of the company, the operating style, the organizational structure, and the human resources policies and the procedures. So those are the main characteristics of our modern business environment these days. It's usually are deployed and established by the chief executive officer or the governing body of the organization. Why do there is like should be like a system for a value system, organizational structure very established to any business environment? Because we are living in a very complex environment, so we have to manage our business effectively to be able to reach our goals, to reach the vision and the mission of the business. It's called governance of the business. So, however, it's affected. There are some influences for the modern business environment. The first influence is the internal factors. There are two factors: the internal factors, and the second one is the external factors. So the internal factors are any factor that is the company or the organizations have control or has control over, such as the products that they are producing or manufacturing, or the target market, or how they manage their relationship with their employees, their organizational structures. So the internal factors are the things that are deployed by the company itself, from its CEO or from its managers or the governing body of the organization. So these factors are being controlled by the company itself. However, there are some external factors which are beyond the business control that is happening in the surrounding, because businesses are not basically operating in a vacuum. They are living in a community, they are under governmental legislation. There are so many global changes that is happening around the businesses. So there are so many external factors that are affecting the businesses. Some examples are disasters or economic crashes, for example, recently the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has changed the whole business environment and how we are operating our businesses, because this thing was not under the control of the business. It was something that is out of the control. So it affected so many business sectors, so many people in our daily lives. So it's very important to understand how those external factors and internal factors are affecting our business. So there is like a model called BEST analysis. This BEST analysis are used to examine how our external factors, because the external factors are very important, and this BEST it's an acronym for 4 words. The first one is political factors, economical factors, and social factors, and technological factors. So we are going to discuss right now one by one what do we mean by these factors. So the first one is political factors. So any governmental legislation or anything that is happening from the political arena in the country will affect our businesses. So, for example, everything from the international trade policies to tax level can change the political wind. So anything that is happening or trending in the political arena in the country can seriously impact our business. For example, there are recent things that happened in the UK, that is the Brexit. which affected it's like a political thing from the people gathered and voted for the UK to be out of the EU. So this has affected the export and import of goods and services, for example, and there are so many effects of this, and we have discussed most of the things that happened in our economy and based on this political factor. The second thing in the economy, the economical factor is there are two types of economy: the macroeconomy and microeconomy. And we have discussed this. We said the macroeconomy is any international or national legislation or national policies, economical policies such as the fiscal policy, the exchange rate, the trades, how the government or how the country is having trade alliances with countries, and what is the export and import of the company. This is like mostly the macro level of the country, macro level economy of the country. However, the micro level of the country is like the income level of individuals, the companies, the minimum wages. So we have to try to consider these things in order to understand our business environment. For example, we want to understand how strong or weak the current economy. Is there a recession or a flourish, or is it like a flourishing the economy, or is it there like inflation or deflation or stagnation? So we have to understand our economical environment correctly. So, for example, the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic and the aftermath of the economy, like so many people maybe lost their jobs, so many people lost their family members, and the expenditure of money on preventing the COVID-19 COVID-19 virus, and how that affected the whole economy and the employment of people. So this is one of the examples. The third one is the social trends or the social environment of the country. So, for example, social trends can impact companies to adapt their business conduct. So, any social trend or cultural trend that is happening in a country, that should be considered by the business, because as I said earlier, companies are not operating in a vacuum. So they should understand the socio-cultural perspective and socio-cultural principles in the country. For example, some environmental pressure groups can impact how companies are conducting their businesses. For example, there is like Nestle and company. There was like a big campaign by a environmentalist group called Greenpeace, and this Greenpeace was calling for Nestle to cut or to disclose how they are producing their products by exporting and by sourcing the palm oil, which they say that it's not sustainable, that is causing deforestation of the Amazon. So companies should consider these things in order to for the general public opinion and for their consumers, because they should take care of the environment that they are living in. They should take care of the people, because also companies are required to give back to the local area which they are operating in. For example, they should pay for the charitable activities, because companies and corporations are taking something from the environment. So they should give back to the environment by doing some charitable activities. So that's how it's very necessary for companies to give back to the community. The fourth thing is the technological factors. Recently, like the internet has changed our business operations, like has changed the whole world. Make it made our life, and it made our economy more connected. The globalization of the people and how people can connect with each other easily. So for example, recently some companies closed their physical stores and moved to online. So, for example, Amazon, it's showed it's a successful company. It shows how they were able to solve the problem of COVID-19 pandemic, and to deliver products and services for people while they are isolating in their homes. Another example is how companies nowadays can access labor cheaply and via, for example, online hiring platforms such as like Upwork, LinkedIn. All of these platforms, companies can access to labor very cheaply, and also how companies nowadays can access uh, labor, for example, in China, and how the technology has helped in access like cheaper labor. And I gave you a homework. This homework is to talk about your business idea, 100 words, and write down how best analysis to do best analysis for your business idea and the environment that which will be operating in, and to send it by Monday. So thank you guys, and this is we have discussed the business and why does business exist, and we explained the business objectives, and we how you can establish very good business objectives, and what and the types of businesses from like profit making and charitable activities and the modern business environment, and we have done the best analysis for our environment. And I hope that everyone, if anyone have any question or any concern, you can contact me via my email, and I would be happy to help you guys. So thank you.